Been a while since I've done a cooking kit video where I've introduced a new cooking kit. Now I have a couple different cooking kits that I'm going to introduce you today. Actually, come to think of it, all three of these cooking kits were gifts to me at one point or another. Some were given to me a long time ago, even before I made the channel. Some were given to me while I was making the channel. But the focus of today is kind of take you through a history and an idea of what kind of fuels and cooking kits to choose, show you some of the interesting ones that I have that have been used by campers and avid outdoors people for a long time, and so you can make your best judgment. Now, I think I'm going to start off probably with this one here. This is the very first cooking kit video that I ever made on the channel, and this is from the late 1800s. Now, this cooking kit is probably made out of copper, and then it's been tinned. It has a fuel canister, like so. Now, I don't know if they actually use the fuel canister itself for the stove. I think it works better because originally it came with just this little alcohol burner, which does all right. It's okay. But it takes forever for it to cook, and really all it does is just get things up to a simmer. After you wait long enough, it can get it up to a boil, but it takes a long time to get there. But whereas using this, and I fabricated a wick like so, it works a little bit better than just using this little one. But anyhow, you got your burner, one way or the other, the canister or this thing, and you put your water, your soup, or what have you in that, and then you're good to go. That's it. So it's a one-man for sure cooking kit. Now all these things can just fit inside. Makes it rather portable. Perfect for a late 19th century outdoors person. As you can see, it's got the windscreen. It's got places for you to, of course, look at it, make sure that it's still burning because it is alcohol, and you need dark to see whether or not it's burning. And you got this nice big port to light it. Okay, so that's pretty effective. The next one is the THEROZ. Now, I love the THEROZ. This is definitely my top two. It goes back and forth between the Press and Mess Kit and this one, because I think this one is ingenious. It really does work as advertised. The problem is the fuel doesn't exist anymore, because I guess they've gotten a little bit of a match with Sterno, which is going to come up here in a little bit. But they came up with an issue, and they argued over patents and stuff. But here you have your cook kit. So you have 1, 2, and your skillet to cook on top of. You put your fuel, which goes in this little cup. This is not the original cup, and it has a little canister that you put the fuel in on this. There's plenty of little perforations for the airflow to go through, and heat rises. So as you cook the first one, heat is still rising up, and it's heating up the second one and the third one. But the idea is that you put the thing that you want to eat first down below, and as you get done cooking that, you drop the next one, etc. So maybe you're getting your coffee in this one and your beans in this one, and then maybe your eggs or bacon or something else on the skillet, right? But you want to drink your coffee, so you heat up your coffee first. While it's cooling down, you have the next thing that's heating up, and by the time that is done eating, that would be your main course, right? Then you have your secondary, or vice versa, depending on what you're eating and in what order, you know? But I like how it all folds up together into one nice, convenient package. One weird thing is this little handle. I've showed that in a previous video. I'll put a list of these videos in the description box. So if you want to see them in order or whatever, you can take a look at it, because I do go in a lot more detail, even demonstrating their use in those videos. So that is the THEROZ Mess Kit, not to be confused with the Press and Mess Kit, which, by the way, if you're not familiar with the Press and Mess Kit, like I said, it's my top two. I go between the two, but it has your plate, has your skillet, has your cup, and has your canteen. It's all inclusive. And the cool thing is, like, the plate and the skillet can come together. It can create a baking vessel or a containing vessel for your vittles or what have you. So if you're interested in getting on the list for that, in the description box below, there's a link. There's a video to it. It shows you the history, because the history is so cool. But that is the Preston Mess Kit, and at the end of this video, I'll actually link it to that video because I'm trying to get 500 people interested. Once we get 500 people, we'll have the green light to go, and we'll start putting this stuff into production, and you can have your own. They're rare. They're rare as hen's teeth. Even more rare than the THEROZ. The THEROZ is also super uncommon to find, but nonetheless, there you go. All right, so we've got those. We're not to the sterno yet. The next comes like kerosene. Like it, love it, hate it, whatever. The kerosene stove works really well, and kerosene actually heats up hotter than what alcohol does. So it can be a little finicky to play with at first, especially like the older kerosene ones like this Primus. But once you get it dialed in, they work really well. I've got a larger one that I'm seriously thinking about selling because I can't get it to work, and it's so big. It's way more than what I probably even need. So I got this little small one, the 96 versus the 100, and I like my 96. It's smaller, lighter, easier to pack away, and it works. That's the best part, is it works. But it uses kerosene, not alcohol. Sorry. I meant to show you this when I was showing you the alcohol stove. A lot of people really like the alcohol stoves because you can get this, like you can make small rinky-dink backpacking alcohol stoves and just using 2 pop cans, some scissors, and you're good to go, right? So alcohol is still a very practical, modern source of cooking on the backpacking trails. You can get big gallons like this at your Lowe's or hardware store. That's where I got mine. Some people use heat because if you're overseas, I guess denatured alcohol is kind of hard to get for some reason. So people use heat over there. I've never used heat. I've only used actual denatured alcohol. This is not the same alcohol that you use for like your first aid purposes, and certainly not the same alcohol that you use to drink. So don't drink this and don't use this for first aid. All right. All right, now we're getting to the stars of the show. Before I get to the stars of the show, though, I'm going to jump ahead. I'm going to talk about the Optimus. Now, I like the Optimus stove. This thing is heavy for a backpacking stove, but it's all-inclusive, and it uses white gas. I like the Optimus more than I would like any of these other ones. When I go backpacking, when I go campouts or whatever, I always take this with me. It is heavy compared to like modern backpacking stoves, especially like Whisper lights and stuff like that. But I like how simple it is. It has the priming pump that came with it. You can buy an extra one if you don't have one. But it comes with the priming pump. It works effectively. It's reliable. I don't need to take alcohol to prime it like I do with the kerosene stoves or other things. White gas is getting harder to get in some places. I haven't had trouble with it yet, but I've seen that the prices are going up on white gas. I like my white gas camping stoves, you know, the old Colemans. I also like my white gas lanterns. I know the government and companies are trying to phase those out in favor of things that they could sell themselves. Like you got to buy those fuel canisters for the propane anymore. So I like white gas. Now, let's get to sterno. I have 2 examples of sterno stoves. Now, these are the sterno canisters, also known as chafing fuel. This is not the same recipe as they used to use back in the early 1900s when they first came out. Back in the early 1900s, sterno exploded. There was a lot of people using sterno as fuel. You've got like the THEROZ company that was in arguments back and forth with them about using a similar fuel. But sterno today does not heat up as hot as the old sterno. It doesn't cook as well, long story short. It does a good job of getting things up to maybe a simmer, or it can take a long time to get it bubbling and actually boiling. I have seen it in the right conditions, but in winter conditions, no. Sterno just doesn't work in winter conditions. Summer conditions, sure. Like you can heat up some food and it does a pretty decent job, but not in so much winter conditions. Now what I have, this was given to me by one of my viewers and Facebook friends and everything. Warren, he had this, and he asked me if I'd be interested in it. He sent it to me as a, you know, just as my efforts trying to educate people about camping and the outdoors, and I greatly appreciate it because I didn't know anything like this existed. So as you can tell, sterno fuel canisters used to be a fraction of the size. He sent me this can too, so I could cut it, and it fits just right to work on something like this. So if I cut this out, or maybe crimp it down or something like that, and I use this by putting the sterno inside of it and see how it works, which we will at a different video. But this is just kind of a primer video showing you the history of various camping stoves that I have. So anyhow, very small canisters back in the day. And this would rest on that canister, and you would even have this handy dandy little paddle here to extinguish it, which is cool, just like using the lid on your sterno cans today. So instead of blowing it out or something like that, you just put that out and it automatically extinguishes. Then you have this pot, which this pot is very reminiscent of this late 1800s one. As you can see, it's got the butterfly handles that are so prevalent in you know, mid-century, early 20th century camping vessels. In fact, I even have this one, which is made out of tin. I don't know what stove or what this went with, but same thing. Nice big size, pretty much, oops. Not quite, it's a little bit bigger than the aluminum one. So this is aluminum. They sold these up until the 1950s, these sterno things. But they were around as early as the late 1920s from different advertisements that I've seen. So this is pretty cool. Nice little kit just to do what you need to do. Of course, if there was liquid in there, it'd be more balanced. And you have this very thin aluminum lid. It doesn't sit on there very tight, but it'll still do the job that it needs to do to help things heat up a little bit faster. So that is that old school sterno stove. And everything packs into that pot, which is always handy when you're going backpacking. Next is this. This is probably like 1980s, 1990s. This is also a sterno stove. And if you've been around camping long enough, I pretty much guarantee you've seen these. Try to show it so you can see how it works. But you got a little wire here, and you got little hooks, so that just kind of bends in there, bends in, and locks into place. So that it holds it. And you got this little door. You have your sterno can, and you put it right in there, and it sits dead center. You close up that door to try to maintain the heat. And this is very thin aluminum. Heavy gauge aluminum, but it's aluminum. And you have your cooking vessel on top. There you go. That is the late 1980s, maybe 1970s. I think I've seen advertisements for these 1970s as well. But pretty much 1980s, 1990s sterno backpacking stove. All right, now those scouts out there, they sold these even in the 1990s when I was a scout. I have no idea. Actually, I do have an idea when this one was made. This was made in the 1950s because it says Boy Scouts of America, National Council, New York City. So this is an old one. Patented, Milwaukee, USA Corporation, JW speaker on the back of it. I didn't know these things are that old. This is like the first time I actually analyzed that stamp. So I didn't realize this was from the 1950s. I thought this was much newer. Like I said, they had these even when I was a scout in the 90s. So you have this aluminum container. Inside of it is a cardboard box. If I can get it out. I don't want to ruin it. Don't want to tear it up. Come on, get out. All right. You have these little heat tabs. These are very similar to the heat tabs that the military used, even in Vietnam. And when I was a kid, we had this GI depot place that had like surplus gear and stuff. They used to sell the military tabs. And my gosh, as a scout, those things were so awesome to either cook with or start a fire with, because they light right up and they would be blue and hot. Boy, you could do anything with them. So let me move the camera so you can take a look at this. So here you go. This is the tab. See how small they are? So you get a bunch of them. This has never been used. I'm not going to light one for you because, well, that wouldn't be very historical of me to do that. But you can kind of see here, 101 uses. Speaker heat tabs, trademark registered. Tablets or concentrated heat. Fry, heat, or boil. Outdoors, use large size heat tabs for hunting, fishing, starting campfires, emergency sterilization, etc. Indoors, use small size heat tabs for heating baby's milk. Quick hot water for shaving. Sick room, heating coffee anywhere. Bedside uses, etc. 2 hours of heat in this box. Isn't that cool? I don't know if I can show you that. When you buy refills of heat tabs, specify 24 heat tabs large size or a package of 24 heat tabs medium size by the speaker core. There you go. That cool. Isn't that cool? You can kind of see what they look like up close. So these were sold to scouts. Like I said, they had these when I was a kid. I got to play around with them when I was a kid, and they worked really well, surprisingly well. And as always with hunting or camping gear, I love how small it all packs down. So as you bring this up, you've got your air circulation coming through. There's holes there. So again, you got your air circulation. Then you take your Boy Scout mess kit, I'm sure, and you put over top of it, and there you go. You got your stove right there. I mean, that is small, right? Like that's pretty cool. When you're thinking about backpacking or long distance trekking, saving weight, this is the ideal, right? I know they got like those fire boxes you can put sticks in. I know we got our whisper lights and stuff like that. But if you could have just some heat tabs, and 1 or 2 heat tabs could cook your meal, that's pretty sweet. These things weigh a lot less than having liquid. When you think about, like, 5 pounds, 10 pounds of fuel to really take care of, a whole group of people, whereas each person just has something like this, 24 heat tabs, then that will take care of you for the entire weekend, for sure. All right. So there you go, my friends. That is my collection, and I think I have a few more. And if you're interested in the press and mess kit, then check out the description box below, because this thing is so cool. Like I said before, you've got your skillet, like so. You've got your plate. You've got your cup, which all folds down. See the handle in there? And you got your canteen, all together, right? It's in the description box below. We need 500 people to make this thing a reality. I'd love it if you'd join us. Also, I want to invite you. There's a limited number of spots available at the Camp Crafters Guild Squirrel Camp. Now in October, it's a 4-day squirrel camp, right? From October 22nd to the 26th. You leave on Sunday the 26th, right? By 11. They're at Dave Canterbury's property in southeastern Ohio. He's hosting us for the 2nd annual squirrel camp. And if you don't want to hunt, you can just come and camp in historic, garb and equipment. You do have to have period equipment and garb to participate, because this is a full immersive experience. If you've ever wanted to experience an old school, early 20th century hunting camp, this is where you can do it. So it's really unique from other reenactments or living histories, because this is truly an immersive camping experience. You're cooking just like they did in their early 20th century. you're sleeping in the early 20th century, you're dressed in the early 20th century, and you're hunting just like you would in the early 20th century. So if you have that kind of kit, or if you're wanting to get one of those kits together, which will help you, right? We'll guide you in the right direction and everything to start your journey, then join us at the 2nd annual Camp Crafters Guild Squirrel Camp, hosted by Dave Canterbury, the Pathfinder School. Now, a cool thing is, once you register, it costs $10. It's just a small $10, and that's going to pay for your freebies that you get for participating, because we're going to give you some things to try to enhance the experience. So it's $10 registration. You get locked into a very exclusive part of the Camp Crafters Guild, where you can share what you have, your plans, questions, research, etc. Other members are on there that post what they have. It's just a great collaborative experience. It'll be a lot of fun. If you don't like cooking, Sarge Viney is going to be there, and so is Josh Wilson. I'll put their YouTube channels below in the description box, but they're going to be there, and they're going to be our camp cooks. And Sarge has already got something awesome planned for those guys who are actually hunting and going out to have their lunch out while they're hunting, and having a camp lunch. So you can participate in that if you so choose. It is an additional charge, but it will be a true immersive camp cook hunting camp experience that I know you enjoy, but it's limited to 25 people. So if you want to be one of those 25 people, you need to get locked in now, and don't wait till the last minute, because last year, we had almost 25 people. We weren't there quite yet, but we almost had 25 people, and they got first invite. Since they came last year, they got invitation to take up spots that are now available for this year, and that's just how we'll do it. So if you come, then you will pretty much be locked in to your invite the following year. And the cool thing about that is, if you've ever been to a living history event, you see the same people over and over again. You build like a family type feeling. And it's just an incredible experience. It really is. When you get to go to reenactment, you see some of the familiar faces, and you're sharing some stories. You might not see each other but once or twice a year. It's cool. So check it out. Camp Crafters Guild at Dave Canterbury's property. Don't forget to check out the description box below for the link for the Preston Mess Kit. If you like the video, please click like. We always appreciate that. If you don't like it, that's fine. I'd love to hear your guys' stories about what kind of either collection you have, maybe your favorite cooking set with fuel. Okay, I'm not talking about like the Boy Scout mess kit. I'm talking about an actual cooking set that has the place for the fuel. We have a favorite backpacking stove or what have you. Some old stories that you have, because I love reading your guys' stories, and I know other people really enjoy it as well. So put that in the comments below. You can always reach out to me with any questions. You can join us at the Camp Crafters Guild at www.honorableoutfitters.com/join the guild. There is a free segment on there that is open to everybody. You can come on, check it out. There's a lot of really cool spots and resources that are available for the free side, but if you want to dive into the more advanced side, then check out the paid side, because the paid side has a lot more to it. All right? If you'd like to see the video about the Preston Mess Kit, then check it out here. If you'd like to see the video of all my other camp crafting videos, then check it out here. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss hug to your loved ones, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.